Hello, welcome back. You're watching Breakfast with Charlie States and Naga Munchetti.
Time is just coming up to 8:30. Today is the 7th day of the escalated conflict in the Middle East, and during that time the UK government has come under increasing criticism and scrutiny from the opposition over its approach. The leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, has said the Prime Minister should be doing more and joins us now. Very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us this morning. I just first of all thought I'd get your thoughts on what we're hearing from President Trump. You'll have heard his comments overnight, and what he's saying is that the attacks on Iran are about to surge dramatically from the place they are now. Those are his words. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't know operationally exactly what the plans are. It is very clear that the US wants to see the end of the regime and wants to take out capability. What does this mean for us? Certainly what I would like to see is a de-escalation. I'm very worried about our citizens who are in the Gulf at the moment, who are facing attacks. I'm glad to see that they're being evacuated. But we are in this war, whether we like it or not, because we have put bases in other people's countries, and we need to protect them. And what I'm worried about is that our government looks afraid to do anything and just wants to sort of make it go away, and we need to be stronger than that.
We can come back to some of those thoughts of yours in a moment. Just, you said you want to see de-escalation. The quote from President Trump is, the attacks are going to surge dramatically. These sound like two completely contrary thought processes. You want
not
de-escalation.
Not necessarily. What I want to see is an end to conflict. I don't like conflicts. It is devastating for the people involved. Sometimes you need to get an increase. I think that the fastest way to de-escalate is for all countries to get involved and bring this to an end as quickly as possible, all countries that can. But what he's talking about in terms of a surge, I can't comment on. I don't have details of exactly what it is he's doing, what his operational plans are. What I want to know is we're in this because of where our bases are and because of our people. We have soldiers there, service personnel. How do we make sure we're doing right by them?
How would you de-escalate now?
So one of the things that most concerns me is that our bases are being fired upon. And even now, HMS Dragon is still in Portsmouth. I mean, I was talking to the Prime Minister about this at PMQs on Wednesday, and he said, we're doing this, we're doing that. It's still in Portsmouth. And our allies, Cyprus, Kuwait, you know, even the Canadians and Australians are saying, what are you doing? Where are you? We should have been there by now, and we're not there.
We spoke to the Deputy Prime Minister today, and I brought that issue up about why it's going to take weeks for HMS Dragon to get to Cyprus, and he said, well, there are other jets, there are other military equipment that are being sent that is perfectly adequate to defend that base. I'm talking about, when you talk about de-escalation, what does that involve? Talks with Iran? Because that's what the Prime Minister has said, that he believes this should be de-escalated through negotiation. What is your version of de-escalating this conflict in the Middle East, particularly with Iran?
Right. So just on the, very quickly on the point, Deputy Prime Minister is wrong. The things that they've put out there aren't going to stop missiles. We need, you know, the capability to stop missiles. That's what getting HMS Dragon there is for. So they're not doing enough. I don't want to, what they're doing is catching arrows. It's not working. We need to actually make sure our bases aren't being hit. When it comes to de-escalation, it'll be a series of measures. We need to reduce the capability of Iran to fire on our bases. That's one of the things that will help stop a lot of what's going on right now.
Is that firing on Iranian missile bases, then?
Yes, which are very buried, very deep underground. When they come out, what else are our jets doing just hanging around there? They need to be able to see who is attacking us and stop them from firing at British soldiers or even British people in hotels.
So that's in alignment with the government at the moment, because David Lammy was on and said Royal Air Force jets could legally strike Iranian missile sites being used to attack British interests.
They're moving, but that's not where they were before. They're being so slow.
They're there now. We know that war developed.
This is the thing. Since February 11th, they've known about this. They've known what was going on. Even I saw on social media, people could see the US was mobilising. And our guys, our government, were just sitting there, just shrugging their shoulders.
Do you want to look back at what was happening, which I accept? You are in opposition and you are there to hold, you know, this government to account as much as we are as journalists to any politician. Or do you want... You have to move with what's happening, a quick-moving conflict. And at this moment in time, this is what we've been told, which is in alignment with what you've just said.
Well, except that they're saying things, they're not doing the things. My worry is this, that we have a government which came in to do different things. They want to increase welfare, do breakfast clubs. They are terrified of this situation. It's not what they're built for. And what I'm trying to do is help them to think about this in the right way. They don't want to hear it. I think Keir Starmer is very concerned about his own job and his own position. He doesn't want to upset his backbenchers. And I think that that is having an impact on the judgment and the speed with which the decisions are being made. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants conflict. But when we've been dragged into it, we didn't start this. The US and Iran had reasons, sorry, the US and Israel had reasons to go into Iran. They've made those reasons clear. But then we started being fired on. What are we doing now? HMS Dragon still in Portsmouth. Lots of talking, lots of excuses.
Can I just...
I don't think that's good enough.
Can I just pick up on a phrase you used a moment ago? You said that what are our jets, British jets, RAF jets, doing there at the moment? You just said they're just hanging around. Now, the evidence we have from the British government, from the British military, is that they have been involved in shooting down missiles and drones. Mm-hmm. You just said... What are they doing there? They're just hanging around.
We know that
you mentioned before about the issue of all of us, to a degree, not having operational knowledge because that's the way these things work. But you have characterised what is already happening by the British military, by the RAF, as just hanging around.
Yeah, what I've said is that they are catching arrows. They need to get the archer.
You used the phrase catching arrows.
Yes.
What they're actually doing is shooting down drones, which will cause damage, and they're shooting down missiles that are heading to the Middle East.
But they need to do more than that. They need to they need to stop the missile sites. You need to go to the source. If you have someone with a gun shooting, stopping the bullets is not enough. You need to go after the actual weapon, the thing that is doing that.
So let's be clear about this.
So let's be very specific. I'm trying to explain something that is very complicated, and I'm using language so that people can see the difference between going straight to the missile sites. But there is something more fundamental that is happening here, and that is that the government is not thinking about defence broadly. That's why today I'm talking about
just a
our
second.
announcement.
It's important we step through this. We will come on to these numbers.
They need to make sure that they're not caught by surprise.
We will come on to the numbers you want to talk about in just a moment. It is important that, as the leader of the opposition, people are clear as to what exactly you're calling for.
Right.
You are saying that you, if you were Prime Minister, would be authorising RAF jets to be attacking mainland Iran. Is that what you're saying?
We are not troops on the ground, but the missile launch sites, yes.
So those would be missile strikes on the Iranian mainland by RAF jets. That's what you would now authorise.
I think that is the right thing to do. That is the right thing to do. If otherwise we are allowing our service personnel to be put in danger, we have to think about them.
How is that different to what David Lammy has said just today? He said that RAF jets could legally strike Iranian missiles.
But why is it just today? What were they saying on Wednesday? They're changing their position. We've known this for a long time.
Did you say that on Wednesday?
Yes, we did. We did. And the Prime Minister said they don't want to take offensive action, which is attacking the missile launch sites. They only want to take defensive action, which is after the missiles have gone, then they'll try and stop them. I mean, if this was a nuclear attack, God forbid, it would be too late. You can't always wait for people to attack you. Sometimes you have to make sure that you get there first to stop their ability to hurt your citizens.
Well, the US is saying that they did attack. They have been under attack.
But let's also remember, we have put our bases in other people's countries. We've put bases in Bahrain. We've put bases in Cyprus. So they are being dragged into this because of our bases. And then when they're attacked, we say, well, actually, maybe let's have some negotiations first. I just worry about this government. I worry about the way they think about defence. I worry about their priorities. And I'm trying to help them to get into a better place. And I think that they're just thinking about the politics of this.
A lot of the arguments around what we are able to do and capable of doing revolve around money, as it always does. And there's a lot of questions are being asked about how, if in the future, now is one question, but in the future our defence budgets are raised, how will we pay for that? And you're putting forward a series of proposals that address that. Can you just explain exactly what it is?
So we need to get to 3% of our GDP by the end of this parliament.
The commitment.
Yes, to spend on defence. The world has changed. The peace dividend, which we grew up under, has been spent. The world has changed, getting more dangerous. And the government doesn't have a plan to get that money. So we have set out a series of proposals. Today, we're talking about stopping the money that the government is using for the two-child benefit cap and putting that into defence. £1.6 billion would be spent, first of all, on more soldiers, about 14,000 reserves, 6,000 regulars. We just need to start upping our capability and capacity now.
As I understand it, the current government's plans for the number of troops they would have under their current proposals is 76,000, and your plan would be 80,000. So there's a very small discrepancy.
There's a big discrepancy in that the government doesn't have any money.
Those numbers sound very close.
They don't have the money. So they're talking about something that they have no plans for. I am putting plans down. This is my concern. Keir Starmer stands at the dispatch box and says, well, we'll do this, we'll do that. He's making lots of commitments. He has no money to pay for it. There should have been a defence investment plan put out last year. We're still waiting for it. He doesn't know where the money's coming from. And when they do have a little bit of money, they decide to put it into welfare. Everything is about welfare with them. It's shocking. We have more important things that need addressing right now, and he won't do them. So what we're saying is, we'll make tough decisions. We're not going to put the money into welfare. We're going to put the money into defence, because right now the world is getting a lot more dangerous. That's the Conservative way.
It wouldn't affect this war now, would it? It wouldn't affect our position right now.
Well, we have to start thinking ahead. We have to start thinking ahead. If decisions aren't made now, we'll be in a very bad place in 2029, 2030. But also, decisions you make now means that you can start ordering equipment that takes years to build. So decisions today will help in the future. We can't wait until then to start ordering tanks and so on. It needs to be done early.
You'll be very mindful. This time last week, we were talking about the by-election, which the Conservatives lost their deposit, which a lot of people will understand what that means. It was a woeful loss for the Conservative Party. Why should people be listening to you right now, the Conservative Party, and you as the Conservative Party leader, when it would appear that other parties are stealing ground from you and moving well ahead of you?
Because we are the only party that is willing to take the tough decisions to get this country back on track. Yes, it's true, we did not have a good result in that Manchester by-election. We had a similar result in another Manchester by-election in 2012. I'm afraid Manchester has never been a place where we've had a stronghold. That's a seat Labour has held since 1931. We were never going to win that. And actually what the people there were doing...
The Greens won the most recent by-election.
If I may finish, Charlie, what people there were doing was thinking of how to get Labour out and who was best placed. They decided the Greens were the best placed party to do that. It's clearly a constituency that's very left. That's not where Conservative voters are. But the country is looking at who has a better offer. I don't think that Labour's offer is one that the country likes. They came in not that long ago with a huge majority, and they are in the same place we were after 14 years.
Where
they got there after a few months.
Kemi Badenoch, you say you think that people don't like what Labour's got to offer. What evidence do you have that anyone at the moment likes what you're offering?
The fact is that we need to change course.
I'm asking for evidence.
Evidence that people like what we have to offer.
Yeah.
They do. They love our policies on abolishing stamp duty. They love our policies on abolishing business rates on the high street, getting rid of the terrible debt on student loans.
And that's showing in polls, that's showing in by-elections?
The issue we have is not about the offer. The issue we have is that people still see us as a party that was in government not that long ago. The public is in a protest mood, so they're going to parties that are protest. Reform, the Greens are telling them what they want to hear. They're recognising that people are angry. I recognise that too, but I also have answers. It's going to take time. It wasn't that long ago that we suffered a historic defeat. I'm picking up the pieces from that and trying to show that there is a better way, and there is. We can bring hope. There is a lot that we can do.
You say that Reform and the Green Party are telling people what they want to hear. I mean, let's not forget, Reform came ahead of you in this by-election.
Yeah, I know that.
More to the right.
They asked Conservatives to lend them the vote. They squeezed the vote, still didn't win. Not a place for, for right-wing voters. That's fine.
How concerned? Because we haven't had you on the sofa. We haven't spoken to you on the sofa here since various defections. You know, Robert Jenrick, Suella Braverman, Nadeem Zahawi too. High-profile names, whether they're in the shadow cabinet or not. You know, high-profile names. names
Yes.
that people recognise. And they've gone to Reform. That's made noise. Reform is making noise. Reform is gathering attention. And Reform is surging in many opinion polls. And to the cost of the Conservative Party.
Well,
how concerned are you about that? Because if you say that people are listening to Reform UK and the Greens, you also said...
They like the fact that protest parties are dragging the government down, and they do that. We're not in government
They're
anymore.
dragging you down after 14 years in government.
I'm afraid, Naga, we were already down. We were already down. What I'm doing is picking us back up again. And you're absolutely right. Reform are making noise. That's what they do. What I said is that they're doing my spring cleaning. What they're doing is taking a lot of the people who caused the problems in the Conservative Party.
They may be making noise,
to reform.
but people are listening. And it goes back to what Charlie was saying, not listening to the Conservatives.
Yes, they are. We are just in a competitive political environment. There are loads of parties now. There are 5, 6 parties. We're in a different era.
So it's not just two-party politics, you believe?
It is right now. It is not two-party politics. You have Plaid in Wales. You've got the SNP in Scotland. Rupert Lowe started his own new party. What we are seeing is fragmentation. The whole country seems to be splitting off into different groups and tribes. I gave a speech about that on Monday. We need to bring people back together. That is the Conservative offer. We're the Conservative and Unionist Party. We're not just a party for, one place or one kind of person. We've got to be for everybody. But you are right, because of the last period in government, which was long, lots of people think, well, why should we trust them again? My job is to show that we have learned the lessons. We're not making the same mistakes. A lot of the bad people we've got are actually going to reform. I don't mind if troublemakers are leaving and going somewhere else. They're Nigel Farage's problem now. People will see that. I want to make sure that people can see that we're thinking about the future, thinking about young people, what's going to happen with all this debt they have, thinking about our defence, making sure that we can fund it, taking tough decisions, thinking about how we can give people hope so they can buy homes, start their businesses. That's the offer that I've got now.
Kemi Badenoch, leader of the Conservative Party, thank you for joining us on the sofa.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much. Let's see.